two times in my life where I've actually seen psychological safety firsthand in a team setting. One was when I played high school hockey. I joined the team early. Some of the players were 2 years older than me. Feeling fairly intimidated, I did not want to make a mistake. I went through the entire season doing my best to not make mistakes and living in a state of fear that if I screwed up, I would hear about it. I was right, because anytime I screwed up, I would hear about it. So we get to playoffs and we're out in the first round, even though we had an extremely talented team. The next year, most of those older players are gone. The locker room atmosphere was different. And it was one where it was more of a focus on being a team and enjoying each other's company than it was about winning. I know that seems strange, but it was actually true. This team, with less talent than the previous year's team, started to have success. At the same time, we were all just enjoying each other's company, because nobody was made to feel like they weren't part of it. Mistakes weren't focused on. It was actually more of a let's get past it, move on to the next thing. We get through the season. We do better than any team from the school's history. We all just have great memories of everything that happened. We enjoyed going to play. We didn't want to miss practices. We loved each other's company. And then the next example was playing on a slow pitch baseball team, which my brother had asked me to play for. This team had a history of imploding in the playoffs. And he told me this in advance, and I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure that we don't do that this time. My brother did not believe me. He actually said, it's going to happen again. It's just a matter of time. Good regular season, get the playoffs, and everybody just attacks each other when things start going bad. So I said, okay. And so we got into playoffs. We had a good regular season, and everything was following the exact script that my brother had told me. And we get to playoffs. I decide, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that we keep a positive atmosphere in the dugout. We start off, first little bit of any type of issues in terms of the game going the wrong way. I decided to just keep a positive approach, be a loud voice on the bench, try to keep people's minds off focusing on mistakes. There would be a few situations where players would start yelling. In those situations, we'd actually just hear them out and say, okay, what do we need to do? Instead of everybody just going quiet when somebody starts yelling and just turning away going, well, I don't know what's happening here, so I'm just going to disappear. Each conflict that came up was dealt with. People's voices were heard. And the next thing you know, the team's playing better than they ever had. By the end of the last day of playoffs, we had won a championship. Psychological safety works. I've seen it firsthand in sports, and I've also seen it in any type of organization I've worked with. I've seen the good of it. I've seen the bad. I've seen micromanaging happen. I've seen voices shut down, and I've seen voices heard and people flourish. Keep that in mind. And if you can, think of a situation yourself where you're part of a team where you actually felt like you fit in, you had a voice, that team did better than they probably should have. If that's the case, then you've witnessed psychological safety firsthand, and you got to take that with you. And it's not just one type of person in leadership that can make this happen. Anybody can do it. It's just a choice. You get rid of the fear-based leadership and you focus on giving everybody around you a chance to speak and let them flourish. Your team will do better than you ever expected.